Welcome to Tragedy and Interesting, where the stories are as captivating as they are compelling. From the depths of human experience to the heights of adventure, we explore the spectrum of emotion and intrigue. On October 14, 2022, Eric Hahn, a 27-year-old cavern jumper from Blacksburg, Virginia, left on an excursion into the core of the Thundering Stream Cavern framework. The cavern, settled in the Ozarks Gully, only south of Ville, Missouri, had been a recognizable jungle gym for Eric and his plunging group, much to their dismay that this specific plummet would be carved into the records of cavern investigation history, not really for a victory, but rather for a grievous and strange development as the sun cast its most memorable beam over the rough scene Eric and his confidants. A piece of the KISS free-breathing plunge group met to plan for a record-breaking jump booked for the next day. The group constantly organized plunge tanks, a standard undertaking that had become natural to them. This was not their initial introduction to the thundering waterway cavern framework. Yet it would be Eric's last, the Thundering Stream. Cavern found during the 1800s had been to some degree investigated in 1979 and 1999, utilizing open-circuit scuba gear, restricting jumpers to the caverns up. Per Aravaz, it was only after May of 2021 that the KISS rebreathing jump group, furnished with rebreathers, made a forward leap past the tight limitations, revealing a huge chamber that plunged to profundities sur. Passing 100 meters, another section in cave investigation had started all through the late spring, a very long time of 2021. Eric Hahn and his group executed month plunges fastidiously, planning the perplexing entries of the cavern, the limestone line, maze turned into their subsequent home and submerged domain. They knew personally by November of that year they set the public cavern depth record at a great 144 m, simply scratching the surface of the cavern's significant secrets. The group's prosperity powered their assurance to drive the limits much further off. The following year, careful arrangements were made for an October slip that would break their wreck. Eric, in a meeting with KSMU correspondent 2 months before the expected plunge, shared his energy and the jobs he played in the group, including gathering cave creatures, for concentrate on his enthusiasm for cave jumping, and investigation resounded as he discussed the unmatched rush of wandering where not many had gone before. The fastidious arranging included security estimates that were a sign of the KISS free-breathing jump group. The exploratory jumpers were furnished with guidon lines, as well as no less than 15 bailout tanks, decisively positioned along the arranged way. Well-being jumpers stood prepared, ready to mediate in the event of any unexpected issues. Mike Youthful, the lead exploratory jumper and proprietor of KISS Free Breathers, stressed their obligation to somewhere safe, calling submerged cave investigation one. Of only a handful of exceptional last boondocks, the fervor expectation were tangible as the clock ticked towards the Hister plunge. The next day, the outdoors director recorded the two jumpers' start time at 11:12 a.m. As they nimbly slid gradually and intentionally, their central goal involved cutting 7 tanks of the rule at 2 unique profundities in the wake of getting 4 tanks at 21 m. The couple got back to a shallower profundity. Never re-emerging, 3 extra tanks were then joined as they slipped further down the rule at 55 m. Eric and his jumping accomplice experienced one more sets of jumpers rising towards the surface. Off passing them, they arrived at the 57 m imprint, joining the tanks to the line the jumpers signed to one another, initiating their climb roughly 5 minutes after the fact at around 11:25 a.m. Misfortune struck while climbing. Eric and his jumping accomplice experienced an unexpected catastrophe in an unexpected frantic endeavor to swim upwards. Eric slammed into a cavern roof, sending shockwaves through the group. The plunging accomplice, seeing Eric's frenzy, raced to help, just to find him in an all-out seizure, endeavoring to eliminate his rebreather mouthpiece. In spite of the frantic endeavors of the two jumpers, they slid to the cavern floor, arriving at a chilling profundity of around 61 m. The situation that transpired next denoted the unexpected finish of Eric Hahn's promising life and the start of a riddle that would torment the thundering waterway cavern framework for quite a long time into the future, as the chilling situation developed in the profundities of the thundering stream. Cavern framework, Eric Hahn's destiny took a grievous turn, with air becoming lethargic. His plunging accomplice confronted a frightening choice: endeavor to salvage Eric or look for help. Eric's accomplice picked the stepping stool rising to the surface to enroll the guide of different drivers who were reasonable as yet, depressurizing nearer to the surface at 30 m. Hans's accomplice critically conveyed Eric's lethargy to the jumpers, setting off a quick climb. Perilously rising at a high speed, they got together with an accomplice at 12 m, where he educated regarding what is happening. One jumper bravely dropped once again into the cavern to find Eric, while the accomplice proceeded with the climb and ensuing experience at 40 m, uncovered fruitless endeavors to recuperate Hahn. In spite of their earnest attempts, the two jumpers finished overdue decompression stops and left. The water crisis administrations were gathered, and a recuperation activity started under the management of the Missouri Public Roadway Watch. Hahn's dormant body and stuff were situated at the overwhelming profundity of 61 m. The recuperation group contained the KISS rebreather plunge group, worked energetically to take Eric back to the surface, where his body was delivered to the Berry province. Coroner in the consequence, M.K. Youthful the foreman shared experiences from the Fundamental Parkway Watch examination. It highlighted an unseemly measure of oxygen in Hahn's own air tank, a disclosure that shed light on the reason for the seizure Eric experienced. Submerged, the summit of bull oxygen, poisonousness, youthful, affectionate. Lee recalled Eric as a never-endingly grinning and bright presence, stressing his predictable cooperation in the group's month-to-month lapses of the thundering waterway. Cavern all through 2022, the next day saw the recovery of the 18 organizing tanks and the submerged living spaces set in the cavern. Mike Youthful conveyed that no more jumps would be done at the site that year, projecting vulnerability on the component of plunging at that area. After a careful examination enduring almost 3 months, the reports shed light on the elements that added to the sad passing of Eric Hahn. It was found that the gas combination present in Hahn's left side tank, which contained generally 26% oxygen, surpassed the most extreme working profundity for the destruction plunge. This break came about in sinus oxygen poisonousness, which was described by a scope of disturbing side effects. For example, appendage spasms, hyperventilation, and trouble keeping up with the predictable profundity. Further examination of Hans's jump PC information uncovered another disturbing disclosure. He added modest quantities of 100% oxygen to his rebreather during the plunge. This wild activity caused an uncommon expansion in fractional tension of oxygen, arriving at 1.8 climates. The subsequent spasms and seizures were predictable with the side effects of oxygen harmfulness. Narcosis, prompted by the absence of helium in Hahn's gas combination, was distinguished as the third contributing variable as Hahn plummeted around 63 m. The shortfall of helium probably escalated. Narcosis, prompting impede judgment, loss of fine coordinated abilities, and a sad result: the shocking demise of Eric Hahn during a cavern jumping undertaking has highlighted the innate risks of this sort of action. The occurrence has featured the requirement for thorough and fastidious checks of gas blends before any jump, as well as the significance of cooperative oversight. Notwithstanding the group's cautious preparation and safeguards, the intricacies of cavern plunging can some of the time outperform even the most careful security measures. According to an outer point of view, unexpected mines gas combinations are basic, as they offer possible protections against unanticipated misfortunes. This sad occurrence fills in as a distinct sign of the dangers implied in investigating the submerged sinkholes. In investigating features the significance of playing it safe to guarantee the security of all required, as the plunging local area mourns the deficiency of Eric Hahn. He abandons a caring loved ones who will everlastingly esteem his memory. May he find happiness in the hereafter. And may his story act as a piercing wake-up call of the innate hazards and obligations related with the quest for submerged exploration. Thank you for joining us on Tragedy and Interesting. If you found this video captivating, give it a thumbs up and share it with your fellow adventurers. For more tales that tug at the heartstrings and stir the imagination, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell.